Hello, today as part of the Stress and Overwhelm month, I'm talking to Andrea Marsh. Andrea, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Andrea. I do shiatsu and Chinese medicine to help women relieve their menopause symptoms with natural solutions.
And yes, so today we're going to talk about stress and overwhelm. Where do we start?
Exactly, that's where I found myself the other day. I found myself getting stressed writing an article about stress because it's such a large area. But the buzzword at the moment seems to be overwhelm. I'm seeing it with my clients, and it's causing a shutdown. And I also had a recent thought that it might be why people don't want to verbally communicate, that they're just kind of almost putting text blocks in the way. It's like my brain can't take any more. So I thought I would look at the underlying cause of overwhelm. Well, I think it's a major underlying cause anyway, and that brings us back to sleep and really comes back to the relaxation of our nervous system overnight. So many women in the menopause wake up in the middle of the night, whether it is from the heat symptoms or for whatever reason they wake up. But the problem is if they can't get back to sleep. And it usually turns out that they've got a whirring mind, it's racing ahead, things have got to get done, and you're lying there and actually kind of lying there not being able to get up and do something means the adrenaline's pumping and you're now getting wound up that you can't get up to do something at 4 o'clock in the morning because you should be asleep. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation. So it's understanding, first of all, what's going on with the body, so that then you understand when I give you some tips about what you can do, you know why you're doing them. Because if I just say, take magnesium, trying to get somebody to go out and buy their vitamins and take them. But if you understand why you're taking it, I know for me, I was never a supplement taker. But now, when I got to the point my energy was very low, very similar to you, Emily, that it was all the cold symptoms of fatigue and memory stuff rather than the hot flushes. I got more and more, had to get into supplements. We can't do these things just with therapy or just with diet. I was eating a lot of magnesium-rich foods, but it wasn't until I took a magnesium supplement that my, sleep pattern changed overnight. And my sleep still goes wonky, and then I have to up the dose. So what happens overnight, and this might partly come from food as well, but let's just say you've woken up at about 4 a.m. and your mind is worrying and you can't get back to sleep. What's actually happening at this point? Well, it's possible that the food that you ate the night before, those sugars are now surging around your body, so they're actually giving you energy at the wrong time of night. That's one possibility. The other thing is, and I realised this with my dog, when she, the other morning, decided to tickle her beard on my head when I was asleep. And to me, that means spider crawling across my head. So I woke up and went, ugh! And of course, that was an adrenaline surge. So that's not good at 4 o'clock in the morning to pump all that adrenaline to your body. So I think adrenaline might have something to do with why, women are awake and the mind is whirring. But what's the detrimental thing of being awake at 4 a.m. is your nervous system isn't getting the time to relax and replenish. And when our nervous system is shot and it's always on that edge of panic, you start living on your nerves. So then a lot of women are saying, I might get back to bed, might get back to sleep at about 6-ish, but that's just in time to get up. Then they get up and they've got things like anxiety. So the nervous system never got its shutdown time. It never got its sleep and rest. So suddenly the day's kicking in, adrenaline happens straight away, and you're straight into anxiety. And if you're not getting the quality sleep, this leads to overwhelm, because you can't think straight. You can't think how to get through the day because the nervous system again is on high alert and you've not had the sleep to replenish your brain. So trying to put it very simply, and there might be people that can put it better, but it's about getting that quality of sleep through the night so that your nervous system can shut down and rest and replenish. And that's ultimately what we've got to get to. But the other thing your nervous system needs is it needs good nutrients in the body. So that's why I've got some tips here about some things that you can take. So I already mentioned magnesium. And magnesium is good for like about 300 things in the body, but one of the major things it's good for is your nervous system, is your quality of sleep, and for a lot of ladies that might have restless legs or cramp, magnesium is really good for those as well. So I get a lot of my ladies onto magnesium.
What sort of magnesium? I know there's several different types of magnesium.
I think the main one is magnesium citrate. I know some people say it might be a little bit, you've got to be a bit careful on the tummy if you're a bit sensitive to type things, or maybe you've had ulcers. The best thing to do with any supplements, because magnesium is a salt, is take it with food. Because if you're ever unsure about magnesium or say omega-3 oil, because I know fish oil with me, I have to have it with food. As long as you blind your stomach with something else, it will sit there in the mix and it won't be hurting you. So I know there's meant to be a better type of magnesium that's like softer on the stomach, but that one's not easily available. So, but the brand, not that I'm affiliated to any brands, but the one I use is called Karma Shore by Nature's Best, because my local nutrition centre, that's the one they've had the best results from. So that's the one I send them all there. I think you can get it on Amazon as well. So that's enough plugging of other people. So a good multivitamin. Now this is the thing, because one of the questions I get asked is there one tablet I can take? And I go, no, there's two. There's a multivitamin and magnesium, because you'll never get enough magnesium in a multivitamin. Just won't happen. And a good multivitamin is actually an oil-based one. And funny enough, just about every supermarket-owned brand, if you check the packet, they've got squidgy capsules in. So that's really good, because that means the multivitamin is just a collection of oils. And that's better than something that's like a big chalky tablet. So I get most of my ladies on a multivitamin. Now, what's important in a multivitamin, when we say age appropriate, is you're looking for really high percentages of the vitamin Bs, because the vitamin Bs are all known as vitamin B complex. Again, are really good for the nervous system. The multivitamin's got everything else you need, like calcium, vitamin D, iron. They're all in there, but you'll find the percentages of multivitamins. So just a women's health multivitamin. Then, you know, I notice my energy change after being on these things for a few months, and I've got some clients that are noticing the changes within 2 weeks. So we can't get this nutrition from our food nowadays unless we're on a pure organic, you know, holy diet. But I'm a realist, so we do need help. So I'd say a good multivitamin. Now, couple of other things you need to know about helping your nervous system to calm you down, and also your brain, is that if you live on a lot of stimulants like caffeine, now I know a lot of women have come off caffeine by the time the hot flushes, but we're always focusing on the perimenopause here. So on the perimenopause, you haven't necessarily got to the heat stage yet, but if you've got interrupted sleep, firstly, you should have come off the caffeine if you haven't got great sleep. But to understand what the caffeine can be exacerbating is when you have an adrenal release, it also releases another hormone called cortisol, which is supposed to be a relaxation hormone. But bizarrely, it does something quite different for us. Too much of it floating around our body starts doing all sorts of weird things. But one of the main things it does is kill brain cells. So being in elongated periods of stress adds to memory loss. Additional cortisol can kill brain cells. And then the other thing to add into the mix is dehydration can also kill brain cells. So another tip is to have a warm glass of water before bed. Just make sure and have water by your bed, because as we start losing the estrogen, we're not holding on to the water as well. And I was talking to a dentist the other day. When our mouths dry out at night, that's the lack of estrogen, because it was the estrogen that held the moisture in our mouths. So if our mouths dry out and we're not sleeping well and we're not breathing well, again, it's affecting our sleep. So warm water to kind of just replenish us, and a glass of water by your bed. I've got one more. Another tip is processed foods. You know, we all love our processed foods, but again, too much processed foods, sugars and carbohydrates, and anything that's been chemically made causes inflammation on the brain. So again, it's another thing, it's stressing our nervous system. So it really is about going back to a fruit and veg diet. And then a form of exercise you may not have heard of, but because I come from Chinese medicine, it's something we practice every day. It's called Qigong. And that's spelled Qigong. Have you heard of it?
I have. My mum does it.
Oh, there you go.
She loves it.
Qigong is working on the nervous system as well as many other things, but it's very calming. And so if I just say to ladies, if you've got YouTube on your telly or on your tablets, look up a chap like Lee Holden. He does 10 minutes and 20 minutes. I find 10 minutes enough. And it's just incredibly calming for the body, the nervous system, and the mind. So those are my top tips to help, the overwhelm that is caused by this long-term stress, which is caused by the interrupted sleep and the nervous system not being able to shut down and relax and replenish.
Excellent. Wow, that was lots of really, really good information, and nice that you've come at it from a different angle rather than it. We often go through the sort of the headline things of managing stress rather than looking at what it's doing to our body. So that's been really, really interesting. Thank you so much, Andrea. That's been really interesting.
You're welcome. See you again soon.